So today we are talking all about upper body training for hikers. Now this is a subject that I don't often talk about. Now not because it's not important, but because on the list of importance and the list of priorities, it's probably not super high up there. But it is an important subject for hikers to deal with and to put into their training, and it's something I want to explore a little bit about today. Now, the reason why we want to be doing upper body training for hikers and talking about upper body training for hikers really comes down to that for anyone who's carrying a pack, anyone that's got a bit of load on their back, you need a strong upper body purely to support that load, purely to keep you comfortable, to keep you balanced, and stop regular aches and pains. Things I commonly hear from hikers is their legs are strong, their abs are strong, they're feeling good, but their neck and their shoulders always get tight whenever they got a heavy pack on, which is not ideal, and it's not something we want to be fighting with when you're on the trail and carrying a heavy pack. So a little bit of upper body training can go a long way in preventing this and reducing this soreness and just keeping a little bit more comfortable on the trail. So all this information is going to be super relevant for anyone who is doing any type of backpacking or heavy pack hiking. But any hiker in general, you probably want to be keeping the balance in your body with some type of upper body training around your lower body training. So today we're just going to explain a little bit around the system I use for my hikers and just tell you how to do this and get the most out of it, the particular areas you want to be working on, and how to make sure all your training is in balance. Now, before we go any further, I just want to talk a little bit about the common mistakes I see in this type of training for hikers, whether it's from hikers who are doing their own training or whether it's from all the ridiculous articles you see online from backpacking magazines and stuff like that. There's some absolutely horrendous advice out there. So I want to clear this up before we go on. First of all, spending too much time on your upper body, like in all honesty, it should be a small portion of your training. Hikers need to be focusing on their legs and their core in the majority. A little bit of focus on the upper body is necessary, but not a huge amount. If you're doing pure upper body days, or you're doing back and bicep days, back and chest days, or whatever, like training like a bodybuilder, it's just a mistake. It's just not necessary. Unless you have a particular physique goal or you particularly love this type of training, you don't need to be doing that. So if you're spending more time than I'm about to explain on your upper body, you don't need to be doing it. Another one is focusing on the little muscles. So if you're trying to target particular muscles in your upper body at a time, saying you're doing bicep curls or tricep extensions or front raises, again, it's just a waste of time. It's just not necessary for hiking. It's not important unless a physio's told you to do it. You don't need to be doing that. And again, I see this all the time in ridiculous articles online for hikers. If someone's telling you how to do bicep curls for the trail, it's just no. Just no. So ignore that. So with this type of stuff, you really don't need to spend a huge amount of time to get results on your upper body or to get the results as a hiker that you need. As I said before, if you are trying to get physique differences, or as in like trying to develop upper body mass and tone and stuff like that, it might be different. But if you're purely trying to improve both your performance and your comfort on the trail, what I'm about to explain to you will do. Now, this is my process, which I use for hikers. There's always a million and one ways to go about things, but this is a simple way that's effective for hikers, which I think just about anyone listening can apply. Now, we're going to be breaking down into your warm-ups, how to choose strength exercises, and also when you should be doing these exercises. To start off with, warm-ups, as a generalization, if you are doing any upper body hiking, you need to be aware that most people are a bit hunched forward these days. Whether we're working from a desk, whether we're just always on a phone, we're driving or whatever, most people are a little bit hunched forward, which isn't the end of the world in day-to-day life. But if you are doing upper body training, and it's something to be aware of, and if we are, particularly tight through particular muscles, it can just put a bit of extra pressure in our shoulder, which can lead to a little bit of pain, in the long term, or just not great results. So we want to be aware in our warm-up, there's a few areas you want to target. Just make sure when you're warming up that you do some type of mobilization on your chest and the front of your shoulders, which generally pull the shoulders forward, as well as the lats, which are the big muscles on your sides. A lot of people neglect that muscle group, but they also pull the shoulders forward. So just spending a couple of minutes, a minute on each muscle group there, doing some type of mobilization in your warm-up is probably a good idea. Now, on top of this, always in your warm-up, if you are training upper body, you probably want to do some type of scapular stability exercise. Now, what I mean by this is your scapula or your shoulder blades are very, very, very important about stabilizing the upper body and putting a good base of support for you to do other movements. If there isn't enough stability through this particular area in the body, sometimes particular other areas in the upper body can take a little bit extra strain. It doesn't really set yourself up for a huge amount of success. And the scapular stability is super important for if you're carrying a heavy pack as well. So just doing an exercise here to help develop stability, to help activate and warm it up, and just build a bit of strength there can be a very good thing a hiker can throw in. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can do this, and none of it's super complicated. It might be simple as doing something called a scapular retraction, in which you just literally pull your shoulder blades back and down, try to tuck your shoulder blades in your back pocket, hold that position for like 5 seconds, feel a bit of tension in there, relax, and repeat that a few times. You might be doing something that's called like a WYT exercise, which you can plug into Google or YouTube, which is a great way of just developing a little bit of strength and a little bit of stability in the scapulars. It might be doing some type of band pull aparts or band face pulls, which again you can throw into YouTube or Google and suss that out. But just like if you are curious about this, go onto the internet, type in scapular stability exercise, choose one of those, do it in your warm-up, and that's probably good enough there. Now, once you've done your warm-up, and once you figure that out, next you want to choose your strength exercises. Now, instead of breaking up your exercises into muscle groups, in which you're saying this is a chest exercise, this is a tricep exercise, this is a back exercise, what I like to do, and what's a pretty easy way of getting your head around it, is breaking your upper body exercises into a pushing and a pulling exercise. Now, if you break up your muscle group, your movements into these, pushing and pulling, automatically you're going to be making sure you hit all of the relevant muscle groups. And if you make sure it's balanced, it's going to keep the entire body in balance, instead of you having to do 7 exercises and do one for your chest, one for your shoulders, one for your back, one for your biceps and triceps. It's a waste of time, that approach. The push and pull, really, really effective. Now, when we're training upper body, you can break these down into further. You can break it down to what's called a horizontal push and pull, in which if you're literally horizontally going out and back, that's a horizontal push and pull, and a vertical push and pull, which are going above your head for the push and going from above to down for your pull. They're the 4 movement patterns that you want to be thinking about for your upper body movements. Now, for some hikers, it'll be relevant to do all 4. For some hikers, it'll be relevant just to do 2 of them. So I'm going to break this down and how I like to do it. Now, if you're a hiker and you do strength training twice a week for 45 minutes at a time or less, so you might do 30 minutes at a time, you might only do one 45-minute session or whatever, so twice a week for 45 minutes at a time or less, you probably only really need to think about the horizontal push and a horizontal pull. Meaning, you want to choose one pushing exercise and one pulling exercise and throw that into your week. Now, for a horizontal push exercise, it might be some type of push-up, it might be some type of chest press, whether it's with a dumbbell, with a barbell, with a pack, or it might be some type of, they're probably the main ones, either a push-up or a chest press. For the horizontal pull, it's going to be some type of rowing exercise, so a banded row, a pack row, a dumbbell row, a barbell row, or a towel row. All of those are great options. But if you're doing it 2 sessions for 45 minutes or less, you literally only need one of each of those exercises and you throw it into your week. You don't need more. You don't need to add in extras unless you particularly really want to. Doing one of those each will be enough. Now, if you're training twice a week for 60 minutes a time, meaning you've got extra time in your session, or you're doing more than 2 strength sessions a week, and you might do 3 or 4 or whatever, that's when you want to think about throwing in those vertical movements. So here you'll be doing a horizontal pull, a horizontal push, a vertical pull, and a vertical push. So you've got 4 upper body strength exercises in there. So for examples here, for the vertical push would be some type of shoulder press in which you're taking a weight and you're pushing it straight above your head in one way or another. Whether you're doing a dumbbell, whether you're doing a plate, whether you're doing a barbell, or just pushing your pack can be effective. For the vertical pull, you're going to be doing some type of thing from hands starting straight above your head and pulling down. So there's not a huge amount of options. You're either going to do a pull down, whether it's on a lat pull down machine, or you're going to attach a band above your head and pull it straight down, or you're going to do some type of pull up variation. That's really all you need. If you're doing 2 minutes, 45 minutes or less, 2 strength exercises in the week, horizontal push and pull. If you're doing any more than that, 4 strength exercises, upper body strength exercises a week, adding in that vertical and vertical. That's really it. Like, you don't really need a huge amount more. You can throw in more, but in all honesty, that's probably enough. And that's what I do with my hikers, and that gets us enough results as we're going through. Now, you might be thinking about that, and you might be like, hey, Rowan, I do like 7, 8, 9, 10 upper body exercises. I go into the gym and I do this machine, this machine, this machine, this machine. Are you telling me I don't need to do this? And the answer is yes. It really isn't strictly necessary. And trust me, if you do those exercises with intent, meaning you go in, you don't faff around, you actually put a bit of intensity into it, you concentrate, each week you increase your load, it's going to be good enough, and it's going to do all you need, and it can be very, very effective. Now, how you want to choose repetitions with these exercises to keep it simple, just do the same repetitions you're doing with your lower body exercises. So if you're doing a period where you're doing 10 repetitions on your lunges, just do 10 repetitions on your upper body ones. If you're doing 6 repetitions, do 6 repetitions. If you're doing 20, do 20. Don't overcomplicate things, just stick with that. And when you are adding these into your workouts, you don't need to be doing them by themselves. Like, I generally will put these into something that's called a sequence, in which I will use these while you're resting in between your leg exercises. So for example, if I got someone doing a workout and they were doing upper body and lower body in the same workout, I'd get them to do the lower body exercise first. So they might do their squat first. Now, once they've done their squat, instead of just standing around playing on their phone doing nothing, we want to fill that time up while we're helping those lower body muscles recover. We want to fill that time up with other exercises. So in this period, we'll do our lower body, then we'll do our upper body exercise because those muscles are still fresh, so you can do that. Next one, we'll probably do a core exercise or a calf exercise. Next one, we'll do a stretch. So by the time we work through all of those exercises, you're going to be fresh to do the first exercise again. Hopefully that makes sense. But don't add extra time by just throwing these upper body exercises in there and doing one at a time. As a hiker, you want to be efficient with your time, so you don't want to be just standing around in rest periods. Pair them up with a lower body exercise, pair them up with a core or mobility exercise, and it can be super, super effective. But if you follow that process and just simply slip in those exercises I mentioned into your training, string it together for 4 to 6 weeks. After that, change the exercises up or change the repetitions up so you're doing a different variation. Making sure regularly you're increasing the load, so you're either putting extra weight on or you're choosing a variation which is a little bit tougher. That is going to be enough upper body training for hikers. Super simple system, super effective system, and I highly recommend you give it a go. Now, as always, if I haven't explain something entirely well today, or you want something expanded on a little bit more, please do reach out to me. Swing me an email at rowan@summitstrength.com.au. If you want extra help with this, you can always join the Training for Hiking and Trekking Facebook group. And if you want some exercise examples, you want videos of any of these exercises I mentioned, join the group, post in the group. I'm more than happy to do some videos for you. But I really do hope you got a bit of value and a bit of information out of this. It's not an often talked about subject for this upper body training for hikers. It is relatively important, and I just see it getting done wrong so many times. So take that information, put into your training, and hopefully it will help. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode today, please do leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. I'd really, really appreciate it, and it does go a long way for me. So have a lovely day, guys, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.